Austin and cities across the country also held 9/11 memorials, with many of those services and moments of silence taking place at schools and universities. But how much do students remember or even really know about 9/11? The Night Beat's Michael Perchik joins us now. And Michael, you spoke with some young people about what happened that day.
Quita, I was at Hayes High School this afternoon meeting with a group of seniors. The students were only a year old when the 9/11 attacks took place. While they were too young to remember that day, they described what they've learned. For many, the memories of September 11th are permanently etched in their minds, from where they were to their immediate reactions. But for those whose knowledge of the event comes second-handedly, how do they view the tragedy?
Kindergarten, I think there was a lot of emphasis on why we're proud to be Americans and how we should remember this day.
Hannah Garcia, Michael Helmer, and Georgia Cardosa are Hayes High seniors, all members of Student Council who took an advanced placement U.S. history course. In that class, they watched United 93, a film which profiled the passengers and crew on one of the hijacked flights.
That was definitely a really heavy thing to watch, and it kind of made me feel more connected to it as an American.
If I hadn't watched that movie, I don't think I would have understood where all of the planes went, what order they came in, how people found out about it, that there was so much confusion when it happened initially.
As they've grown older, they've learned more about the tragedy, from inside the classroom to speaking with family members to watching documentaries and old news clips. It's helped provide context to many issues the country is currently facing.
I think it's just as big of a turning point as Pearl Harbor was almost, because it didn't start as big of a war, but I would say 9/11 would be the start of the era that we've lived in pretty much our whole lives.
For years, they've observed moments of silence in memory of those killed. Now they do so with a better understanding of the events that unfolded, the lives lost, and the heroes who responded.
When you're in elementary school, you know that you're supposed to be quiet, but you don't really understand why. But knowing about it definitely makes it a lot more meaningful.
I think it's a day that we not only remember the people who died in that tragedy, but it's also a day that we remember the people that help us, like the firefighters, the policemen that give up their days to not only help us in terrorist attacks like this, but also the hurricanes that are happening right now.
And we asked people on our KVUE Facebook page to share their memories of September 11th. Here, just a few of those responses. Jessica writing, college, walking through a student lunchroom. I was a freshman. No one could move from where they stood. It was a room full of 100 silent, crying people. Next, we have Carol, who wrote, at work, coworkers said a plane hit one of the towers. We thought a horrible accident, then the other one, and we knew it wasn't. Total shock and fear that day. I'll never forget. And Eric adds, at school in Scotch Plains, New Jersey, didn't find out about it until I was walking home from school. The district wanted any news to come from parents, as many of my classmates had parents working in the World Trade Center. So Quita, a lot of different perspectives we've been hearing all day on our KVUE Facebook page.
I've been talking and Facebooking with people as well. And I mean, really people who are our age, older, younger, they do remember where they were. I know we both grew up in the Northeast and you grew up in New Jersey. Do you remember where you were that day?
I remember that day vividly. So Eric, who's a final commenter, said Scotch Plains, New Jersey, and mentioned a lot of parents and classmates with connection to the World Trade Center. We were the exact same way, North New Jersey, and we kind of were just in that situation where we did not know what was going on. So I was in 5th grade, and one by one we just started being pulled out of class with nobody telling us why. Unfortunately, one of my classmates did lose their parent in the World Trade Center attacks. My dad had a meeting scheduled at the World Trade Center for the morning, September 11th, and the night before they pushed it to the afternoon. So, I found out about that when I got home. So, I'm very fortunate, I'm very grateful, but, for thousands of, family, they lost their loved ones, their brothers, their sisters, friends. It's just a tragic event. How about you? I know you have a lot of ties up to New York City. And
I do. I was actually here working at KVUE. Came to work that morning and was listening to it on KLBJ AM on the radio, and walked in and we watched. All of us just stood in the newsroom in silence, watching as the towers crumbled.
I think one of the interesting things, Carol wrote, and this was something a lot of people felt. When the first plane hit the towers, there was a lot of confusion. People thought it was an accident. I don't think they realized that this was a terror attack. And we've heard from people who did escape that second tower being, told, remain calm. This is an accident. It's not going to affect you. And I think it's just the confusion, the hysteria of the day, no one really knowing what was going on. And the students kind of said that as well off camera, that some of the things they've studied as a military, not knowing what was going on at the time either, just completely came out of nowhere. So a tragic event, but I'm happy these students are having the opportunity to learn about it, and hopefully further generations will do so as well.
I know they will. Michael, thank you so much.